I was officially going to North Carolina. But then I think a week later, they emailed me back saying, "Hey, your location is being changed to Germany."
Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm starting to interview people in a podcast style video. So today we have our first guest. It's Dr. Mark Park. He was my friend from dental school. He graduated from USC in 2020, and now he's currently practicing as an army dentist in Germany. So stay tuned, watch the podcast. Hopefully you get some valuable information. He talks about how he applied for the HPSP scholarship, the pros and cons to it, his life as a general dentist working in Germany, and his plans for afterwards. So I hope you guys enjoyed this interview. I thought it was very interesting. Thank you, Mark, for joining me on this interview. It was so much fun to do. Thank you so much for coming, Dr. Mark Park. If you first want to tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got to where you are, what made you choose to do HPSP.
Sure. First of all, thank you very much for having me. I'm honored to be one of your first guests on your podcast, your YouTube channel. So basically, hi everyone, my name is Mark. I was born and raised in Madison, Wisconsin. I went to dental school at USC, graduated in 2020, pretty much right at the beginning of COVID. So it was definitely a crazy time when I graduated. And then right after I graduated dental school, I went to, BOLC, which stands for Basic Officer Leadership Course, which is basically Army training for docs, dentists, etc. in San Antonio, Texas. And right after that, I'm here in Germany, Stuttgart, Germany, pretty much the home of the pretty big companies like Mercedes-Benz and Porsche. And yeah, I've been practicing and pretty much loving Germany, ever since. But yeah, so in terms of applying to the HPSP, one of the big reasons why I applied to the HPSP was definitely because of finances or financial reasons. As we all know, dental school is super expensive, and like tuition of dental school is rising every single year. So I kind of wanted something to help lessen the financial burden of dental school. And I thought that the HPSP was a really great way of, helping with that reason. My second reason for joining HPSP was just to get some new experiences. I've never experienced anything, military in my life. I don't have very many relatives that were in the military, so I kind of wanted to try out some new things and see, what the military life was like, and just have some new experiences under my belt. So that's kind of, why I applied to HPSP.
That's great. You have such a great attitude about it. It seems like not an easy decision, especially to go all the way to Germany. So did you choose Germany? Like, how was the ranking after you graduate dental school? I know you have to say like your first choice, your second choice. Was Germany on one of your top choices?
So surprisingly enough, Germany was not even in my top 10 choices.
Oh, that's a little scary, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely weird. And like this was honestly like a last minute like thing too. I'm not quite sure how the ranking system works now. It may be different nowadays than when I, was entering the army. But what happened to me was, right at the summer of my last year of dental school, you get an email from someone in the army saying, "Hey, these are the available like duty stations or locations, and pretty much rank your top 10 or top 5 choices and just email, the army back." So I, got a list of like 20 or 30 duty stations, looked them up and see what they were like. And majority of them were actually like in Louisiana, like swamps of Louisiana, or like, some desert anywhere. But anyway, I chose places in the United States specifically, just because I was kind of afraid of, going overseas as your first station. Like, I thought that would be kind of overwhelming. So I just picked everything in the States, only in the States.
Oh, wow.
So initially I was actually supposed to go to North Carolina. And I heard back in March saying I was officially going to North Carolina. But then I think a week later, they emailed me back saying, "Hey, you're being redirected, or, your location is being changed to Germany." So
Wow.
that's kind of how it happened. But yeah, in terms of the rank rating system, so basically what I did was they just sent me like an Excel sheet of all the duty stations or available locations. And they just told us just rank, your top 10 and then just email them back. And I guess they just handle the rest.
Okay. But now we know it's possible to get placed somewhere that you didn't even rank with 2 weeks
That is
notice.
absolutely true. Yeah, it definitely was short notice. I guess that's just how it works in the military. You just get sent wherever they tell you, I guess.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to have a say, but I guess maybe it depends on the situation. But yeah,
They tried. It seems like they tried.
They tried,
but didn't work out.
Mhm.
So, wow, that's very interesting. So you just had to pack your bags and leave. Were you able to bring? I'm not sure if you're dating, or if you were to be married, would you be able to bring your significant other with you out overseas? Or
So
I'm not sure if that's
that's a great question. So it is definitely possible if you're married. So if you have married, you have kids, the army, like there's a program in the army that really helps with moving all your luggage and things like household goods and things like that from your original place of residence to your new duty station. So the army, I think, makes it really, really easy or as easy as possible for that to happen. I mean, I guess fortunately or unfortunately for me, I didn't have like a girlfriend or like a wife at the time or anything. I'm still single, but so for me it was really easy. So all I had to do was just pack like a suitcase and just leave. But the army does have a program or like a system of being able to pack all your goods, pack all your household items, and then ship them out to wherever your duty station is. And it's called like the household goods program. I forgot the name of the program, but it makes it very, very good.
What about your car? Did they ship your car, or did they give you a vehicle over there, or did you just get a new car?
So I did not have a car. So they do ship cars. They ship cars as well. I believe it depends on how big your household is, but I think it's like one per person. So if I had a car, they would have shipped my car, but at that time I didn't have a car. So I just pretty much just went with literally like a suitcase and backpack, and yeah, that was pretty much how I went. But yeah, they do ship cars, they ship your household goods and things like that.
Okay. Wow, what an adventure. So when you landed there, I'm assuming they had a place for you to land. Or did you have to find your own housing? How did that work? And I'm assuming you didn't speak the language. And do you speak the language now?
Yeah. So thankfully, like everyone in Germany does speak English. I guess it's one of the languages they learn. But so basically what happened was I landed at the airport, and then one of the people from my clinic actually came to pick me up. And initially, because when you get to like a new base, you don't have like a place to live, right? So what they do is they actually put you in the hotel. So each like base has like its own like hotel, or the lodging they call it. And basically they put me in a hotel for I guess about a month or 2 months. But that was kind of a rare case because COVID was like big. I had to quarantine and housing was hard to find. Yeah. Anyway, that was like I guess that was kind of weird, but yeah. So under normal circumstances, they would put you in a hotel, and hotel will be covered by the army. So they'll put you in a hotel, and then within like 10 to 20 days, you're supposed to find housing. So it depends on the base and depends on I guess their own policies. But usually if you're like a dental officer, you get to live off post, so like outside of the base. So for me, it was what I had to do was as soon as I was done with quarantine, I had to literally just leave my apartment and just kind of walk out and just find an apartment. Pretty much that's what happened.
Okay. And did you have issues with that?
You see people in your clinic, they're very accommodating. Yeah, so thankfully spoke English. But it's weird. It's definitely weird. In other countries, I'm pretty sure it'd be a little bit more difficult, but for me, it was a little bit more fortunate for me because everyone does speak English. So yeah, I was just able to just go to Google pretty much, or go to Yelp or wherever apartments.com, whatever websites they use. I found apartments, emailed and called, and yeah, I somehow got an apartment somehow. I still can't believe it.
Good for you. What an adventure. That's a really cool story to be able to tell I don't know, future patients, future friends. Like, not everyone gets to have an experience like that. What's the coolest
No, I
thing
think,
you?
oh, yeah.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, go
Uh,
ahead. I'm sorry.
so you went to Germany to work as a dentist, but I'm assuming you
Mhm.
get some free time to do other things, right? Have you been
Mhm.
able to travel around? What's like a cool thing you've gotten to do that you wouldn't have been able to do if you weren't in Germany or weren't in the military, for example?
So I guess being in Germany is really great because like you're just a train ride away from like a new country.
Oh yeah.
So sometimes on the weekends, what I do is, as soon as I bought a car, it was like as soon as I bought a car, I was able to just drive to like a new German city and just explore for a day. And then in the army, the good thing about the army, I guess, is you get a lot of like 3 or 4 day holidays. So whenever I got a 3 or 4 day holiday, I would, go travel to another country without, worrying too much about, I guess, the cost of plane tickets because it's definitely easier. That's really been a really fantastic thing. And I guess another really interesting thing is as an army dentist, I guess you have an opportunity to actually just interact with other dentists from other countries. So
Mm.
I guess a couple of months ago, we had this huge dental conference where, army dentists, Navy dentists, as well as like dentists from like the German army and then like the British army also came just to kind of take CE courses.
Hmm.
And just being at that conference and kind of interacting and talking with other German dentists and, British dentists was really really awesome because I guess
That's
it's
really
kind of one of
neat.
the yeah. So it's just kind of hearing the different philosophies and different treatment, techniques and modalities was pretty interesting. But yeah, in terms of just in the weekends, my free time, yeah, it's just really awesome because you get to travel to a new German town, German city, and it's just being here. I guess is pretty crazy. I have to say.
Yeah, that's really neat. What a cool experience. How
Mhm.
was you mentioned I thought it was called ODS, but maybe in the army it's called something different. You said it was BOLC, something that started with the B, the
Yeah.
training camp
So
that you do.
ODS, I think, is what they call it in the Navy.
Okay.
I think the Officer Development School, right, or something like that.
Yes.
So in the Army, we call it BOLC, which stands for
BOLC.
Basic Officer Leadership Course, BOLC. And did you want me to kind of explain my experiences or like what I did there
Yeah, I want to know how
before
long it
into it?
was, and then
Yeah.
I'm assuming you go right after dental school, correct? Or do you go in the middle of dental school?
So ideally, like under normal circumstances, you would go right after dental school. So
Okay.
the BOLC that most dentists, most docs go to is, I think it happens from June to July. It's about 6 weeks.
Okay.
So it would be like 2 weeks of just classroom work and then like 3 weeks or 2 weeks of like training, like field stuff, like army, physical stuff. And then I think you're done, you graduate afterwards. So, but because of COVID and because of graduation
Hmm.
requirements and things like that, I had to delay um basically starting my training. So I didn't go until like August.
Okay.
So when I went in August, training for me was 10 weeks. So it
Instead
was
of the
definitely
6 weeks.
instead of 6 weeks, it was 10 weeks. So that was definitely an experience. But yeah, it was 10
Why?
weeks.
They felt
I
like you
guess
needed more training, or they just
yeah, I guess so. I guess the one that happens in June, the one that dentists are supposed to go to in June is 6 weeks because like I don't know, I guess just the army just wants all the dentists to go to the 6 week one, but then everything else is like 10 weeks.
okay, so you're telling
Um,
me you didn't go with only dentist then.
yeah,
You went with like everyone else.
pretty much.
Okay. And this
Yeah,
wasn't
pretty
what
much.
was supposed to happen. This was a
Mhm.
surprise also.
Exactly.
So many
Yeah, you're exactly right.
surprises.
No, it's weird. So you're exactly right. So I went with I think there were a few other dentists, that had to delay training because of licensing or graduation requirements. But yeah, the pretty much a majority of people I went to were like nurses, like who just graduated college, like ROTC college or something like that. And then yeah, and then some pretty much like other docs or some people who just graduated like graduate school, I think, like and things like that. But yeah, so my training was 10 weeks. The first 4 weeks of it was just like we just sit in a classroom, just learn about how army works, like how you're supposed to dress, how you're supposed to, I guess, salute, and then just like how like army healthcare and medical systems work. That was definitely tough. I have to admit, I guess dental school really prepares you because we have to learn so much at dental school.
Uh-huh.
But I have to say that was a lot of learning. 4 weeks, so we have to take a midterm, final, quizzes, yeah, the whole shebang.
Oh,
But then right
wow.
after that was like three weeks of field training. So the first, 2 weeks we would go out in the field and we would, shoot guns. You would do some army physical activities such as something called rucking, where we just wear a big, really, really heavy backpack and just walk like 10 miles. And then yeah, pretty much like apply everything we learned in the classroom to the field. So like how do you carry like an injured person from point A to point B and things like that. And then the last week was we had to like literally just like try it out in like a real time scenario, and that
Mm-hmm.
was a lot of fun. That was tiresome but really fun. Um, and then the last 2 weeks, we got to sit in the classroom again, but except this was with an army dentist. So an army dentist would pretty much gather all the dentists together and then
Mm-hmm.
just it's about army dentistry, like how it works, and they went over like things like charting, like how to what X-ray system we use, and like how we determine, oh, this soldier can deploy or can't deploy and things like that. So 10 weeks. Normally, I hopefully something like COVID doesn't happen again, so
Yeah.
everyone can go to the 6-week training instead of the 10-week training. um but yeah, so ideally like the 6-week would be, I think, definitely ideal. I think 10 weeks is a little bit too long for me, but overall it was fun. I had a good time. I still am friends with a lot of people I met at that training, so it was good.
Okay. And this was in Texas, you said.
This is in Texas. Yep, San Antonio.
Was there any time to explore, or no? It was an intensive 10 weeks, no time to explore on the weekends.
Oh,
Do you get the
so
weekends off?
unfortunately, yes, unfortunately for us, because of COVID, they wouldn't let us leave the base.
Oh, right.
So we were
Okay.
just kind of just stuck in the base because I guess they didn't want us to, because of, social distancing and everything like that. But yeah, normally you would be
Mm-hmm.
able to actually go out, and explore the city and even like travel to other cities in Texas. Ideal, like normally. But yeah, I guess just for us, it was just kind of exception because of COVID. But yeah, but ideally, yeah, you can actually travel outside and have fun, I guess.
Okay. Good to know. And during this time that you were in Texas, you didn't know where you were going to be placed, correct? Or you knew
So I did
where you were
know.
going to be?
So I
Okay.
knew that I was going to be in Germany like right before actually it was in March, so it was like right before COVID happened. So I knew I was going to be in Germany. Um, but I know there are a lot of people who actually had their like duty stations changed like while they were in training. So I
Okay.
had this one guy, like he was dentist too. So there was one guy, he was supposed to go somewhere in like Kentucky, but then last minute, like he moved to Texas. So it
Okay.
it definitely happened. This is definitely hectic. Not quite sure what's going on over there. Like maybe it's, they have their own system, but yeah, it's definitely a crazy process in a way.
Yeah. What are some rules that you weren't expecting during the training? And I'm asking this because one of my classmates from dental school, he did the ODS in the Navy,
Mhm.
and he said they had to wake up at certain times, or there were certain rules like you couldn't take naps, or you would have to do like push-ups and things like that. I don't know if it's the same for the army.
So I think, yeah, because I think a Navy friend who also said the same thing, like they had to
Mm-hmm.
make their bed and get up at certain time period. But I really have to say it's been, I feel like Army BOLC is a little bit more chill. I
Wow,
hate to say
good
it,
to
but it
know.
seems like it sounds like it's more chill because like when there are people who take naps, and we do get yelled at if we take things like naps. Like if you nap, like we would get yelled at, but they wouldn't have us like do push-ups or anything like that. However, there are certain times when but they would, sometimes like, like pretty much like call everyone like maybe like in the middle of the day or like, in
Mm-hmm.
the afternoon, and just to like meet in the field. And if someone was late or someone, didn't come, or then that person would be in trouble. Like they would kind of get yelled at, or like they will get like something called a counseling by one of like
Mm-hmm.
the senior, I guess, instructors. but yeah, so we will have to wake up early. We can't be late to formation. That's called, yeah, that's what I meant to say. Formation. Like we can't be late to formation. And there will be random times in the day that they will just call everybody to formation.
Mm-hmm.
And people who are late to that, would get in a lot of trouble. And some other rules. That's yeah, napping was kind of a big one, but we wouldn't have to do push-ups. I guess like if we did something, I guess if that was kind of irresponsible, they would yell at us, but it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't anything like crazy. I wouldn't say I think it was pretty reasonable. I think they were pretty respectful. Like most of the instructors were respectful because I guess a lot of the people were docs, MDs, and everything like that. So yeah, no crazy rules off the top of my head. Yeah, but
What about caffeine, coffee? I've heard that you can't have coffee. Is that true?
no, that's not true. You can have coffee. You definitely can have coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, coffee is totally fine. I think that's more like an instructor preference. Like some instructors don't want anyone to drink coffee, but no, yeah, coffee is totally fine. Yeah, they've never
Okay,
seen
good.
anyone get in trouble because of coffee. Yeah,
Okay, good to know because I can't imagine not having coffee.
same.
So now let's go back to your work schedule. Or like you're in Germany now, you're working as a dentist. Are you always working as a dentist or are you doing other military duties?
Yeah,
Like what
great
does your
question.
day-to-day look like?
Yeah, so my day-to-day is so about 70 to 80% of my time is as a dentist. I treat patients, do dental work. That's about 70 to 80% of the time. And then the other 20 to 30% is, doing things other than dentistry. So basically that would be pretty much army training. So we would, occasionally we have to go out and, shoot guns or qualify, in shooting guns. We would do army training such as, physical activities like physical training. And we would also have to do things called like officer professional development, where we would just
Mm-hmm.
kind of sit in like a room and just kind of listen to other senior officers talk about their experiences and like what is like a good way of being an army officer and things like that. Um, so pretty much it's about 30 to 20 to 30% of the time we would have to do all this army stuff. So it's not like overwhelming, but I guess for someone who really just wants to do like dental work and just focus on, practicing your dental skills, I can see it get kind of annoying for, people like that. But I think overall it's been pretty reasonable. You're in the army, like you're expected to be an army officer and do army things. But so my day to day, this is I guess what my typical day goes. So my
Mm-hmm.
day starts at like 07:20, so 7:20 in the morning, and then the day wouldn't end until like 4:30 or 5 o'clock, and then you kind of have like the rest of the day to yourself.
Okay.
Um, if you're doing some things like training, you would have to get up kind of early in the morning, and then either drive to another base to do training or come back here and do things like the fitness tests. But yeah, overall it's just pretty much just 7 to 4 p.m. every day.
Okay. And the patients that you're treating, are they mostly soldiers or the kids of the soldiers? I'm assuming it's not like people in the community, right?
Mhm. So not people in the community, not like Germans, but we
Yeah.
treat soldiers and we treat their family members and we treat their kids also. In Germany, like in German army clinics, that's kind of an exception because I guess it
Mm-hmm.
is hard for German, I mean not German, like those family members of soldiers to get dental treatment like outside in Germany. So
Mm-hmm.
we do, treat family members, but I know that in the state side, in any base or facility in the States, they do not see family members at all. They only see the soldiers only. But yeah, here since we're in Germany, since we're overseas, like we do treat, family members, their kids, and mostly soldiers.
Okay. Good to know.
Mhm. Yeah.
How are your skills like going into it? Because I know you graduated in 2020, like the middle of COVID. You didn't do clinic and dental school for like a couple months, and then you had to practice dentistry full time. Well, kind of full time. Were you thrown in there all on your own and you had to just I don't know, do a crown prep, do a filling, I don't know, do it like a denture, or did you have someone there that was kind of mentoring you?
Kind of a little bit of both. So what happened was, as you know, obviously because of COVID, I can't really say I blame it all on COVID, but it was also, because I guess I wish I had a little more experience. But right out of dental school, I thought I knew everything, and I thought everything was great. But then when I saw my first patient in the Army clinic, oh my gosh, I was just like thrown. I was just like in a panic, and so it wasn't. So I realized my dental skills were not very good. They're pretty terrible. So what happened was in the beginning, I was put on something called a probationary period for about like a couple weeks, I think 3 or 4 weeks. So during this time period, what would happen, it would be kind of be like dental school. So I would do a prep, and one of the more senior dentists would just check my prep and check my restorations, and then it was kind of like that. So they had a probationary period. I was put on a probationary period, and I think that was definitely helpful for me. So I know that in other bases, I think it really depends on the location base as well. And I think in some other bases, I think they start out with like exams only, and then they have you do cleanings and then kind of work you up to a filling. But I guess here they just kind of just threw me in and just had me do a filling or like a crown right away, and then they would just kind of help me along the way. So that was definitely weird. But ideally, what they would do is they would kind of put you on a probationary period, and just kind of have you go.
Okay. And how have you improved now? Do you feel like your skill set has definitely like improved a lot?
I want to say it's improved a little bit, but I realize I still realize that like I need to improve in a lot of areas. There are a lot of things I still don't know about. I want to say I can do a filling and get by. That's kind of what I think now. But yeah, I feel like my skills have definitely improved. I think just doing dentistry and just kind of learning through your failures has kind of made me improve as a dentist just a little bit. And yeah, I mean, I hope so. I hope I improved.
Yeah, no, you're definitely improving. But are the cases that you see pretty complicated, or are they mostly simple, like simple fillings, or do you see any crazy pros cases? I'm assuming not.
Honestly, it really depends on like the duty station location. There are some bases like in Texas, or really large bases. In those cases, you would definitely see a lot of really like complex cases, for sure. But you also have to realize that in the Army, there's a lot of specialists. So wherever you go, there's always going to be a specialist, either in your clinic or some clinic like really nearby. So all those cases usually go to those specialists. And basically, as a general dentist, what you end up with is just doing like exams, basic fillings, maybe like emergency dental treatments, potomies, pulpectomies, and then maybe like a single crown. But the good thing about the Army is that if you want to, try out some harder cases and like, try out, molar endo or maybe like a full arch or something like that, maybe not full arch, but maybe something close to that, then you can actually work directly with the specialist that's either in your clinic or nearby clinic, and like kind of improve that way. So that in a way it's so a lot of cases. So in my clinic, so a lot of the soldiers are actually a little bit older. So this is like a command base. So there's a lot of older, more senior officers that are here. So a lot of the cases that you do see are definitely can be pros related for sure. Calcified canals, and definitely cases that are a little bit harder for me to handle. Basically, what I do, kind of majority of the things I do is just kind of basic fillings, some crowns, some endos, and then pretty much and extractions too. But whatever I'm kind of comfortable with, and whatever the specialist kind of allows me to do.
I see. What specialists do you have? Yeah. So I'm assuming you have an oral surgeon, an endodontist. Do you have every specialist? Do you have an orthodontist, a pedodontist?
So we have an orthodontist, periodontist, and a prosthodontist. And we also have something called a comprehensive dentist. This is like a general dentist in the Army that did like a 2-year AGD program. So in the Army, it's considered specialists. but we don't have an oral surgeon. We don't have an endodontist, but we have an
Okay.
endodontist that comes from a different base every like once a month to do like all of our endo cases. And then for extractions, a lot of the dentists here do third molar extractions. But if it's something like that general dentists can handle, they usually get sent up to an oral surgeon kind of like up north in Germany. So, but we don't have all the specialists in my clinic, but whatever the soldier needs, the soldier gets.
So now that you're almost done in November, what are your plans for afterwards? Do you have plans? You don't have to have plans. Sometimes people don't
that's a
like
great
this
question. I'm really at a crossroads too right now. I I I guess like and I'm right like in the center middle of either seeing if I want to extend my contract with the army or getting out. Maybe leaning towards getting out, maybe because of you get paid more, and I guess army is a little bit tiring sometimes. But honestly, I'm like right at the middle. I'm at the crossroads. So maybe in a few months, my answer will change. Maybe my plans will change, and maybe something brilliant and awesome will come up. Or but yeah, I will. Unfortunately, right now I am just like in the middle of crossroads. I'm not sure what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You get paid in US dollars, right? Yeah, that would make sense.
That is correct. Yep.
Okay.
So we get paid in US dollars. We also get paid for housing. We call it BH, basic allowance for housing. We get basically it does a lot, like finances is a lot to break down. But yeah, basically the army does pay for my housing and we get paid in US dollars. And
Okay,
because
so
of the currency exchange, it's kind of weird. But like they try to like if the currency exchange is really bad or like the value of the dollars is really terrible, I think the army does compensate by raising your salary a little bit. I think at least they're supposed to, but yeah, that's kind of how it works. Yeah, we get paid
yeah.
US dollars. That's your question.
Okay. What are more of the pros of being in the military? So you said they pay for housing. Would you consider that a pro or not really
I'd say
because you get
I'd say
paid
it's a
less?
I don't know. That's a good question. So I think it's a pro. I say it's a pro, I guess. Pay for housing. I guess if seeing that they pay for dental school is a pretty big bonus.
Oh, that's a huge pro. Yeah.
And yeah, it's huge bonus, right? And then I guess another good bonus is you get to travel. You get to go to different places every couple of years. So people, that's a kind of a good bonus. I think another kind of interesting thing about being in the army. So I haven't worked in the private sector yet, so I cannot say one is better than the other.
Yeah.
But in the army, I think what's kind of nice is that because the soldiers don't have to pay for the dental work, like whatever the soldier needs, the soldier gets. So if we can basically make the most ideal treatment plan, and we can give that to the soldier as long as everyone has the skill set and like time. I remember in dental school, like we would always make like the ideal treatment plan for the patient, but because of finances or time limitations or other factors, like they wouldn't be able to kind of follow up. We couldn't follow up or follow through with the ideal treatment plan, so we would have to go with like the alternative or something not as good. But in the army, we can always do the ideal treatment plan for all the soldiers, as long as the soldier is able to, accept it. And I kind of find that pretty, like pretty good, pretty nice. Like,
yeah, that's great.
Our treatment is not driven by money because we get paid the same amount no matter how much dental work we do. So I kind of like that fact. But then I guess the negative would be we don't get paid as much as our civilian counterparts.
But do you get paid like around 100,000, a little over 100,000, or a little under 100,000?
I say right now I'm getting paid a little under about 100,000.
About
Maybe
okay.
a little bit under. And then when I first started out, I think I don't even think it was 100,000, but I think since I've been in the army for I guess for 2 years at this point, it has gone like above 100,000.
Okay.
But I feel like obviously specialists get paid more, of course, but definitely what I'm getting paid is definitely not really close to what my civilian classmates are getting paid.
Yeah.
So it's definitely the money is you don't get paid as much, but I guess yeah, that's one of the cons, I guess.
Yeah, I'm in a GPR right now, and GPR we get paid around 60,000. I mean, after taxes, it's less.
I'm assuming you get paid way more than that
I say a
than
little bit more
60.
than that. A
Yeah.
little bit more than that, but I guess I guess it'd be kind of between being a like a resident salary and
Hmm.
then like a little more than resident salary, but a lot less than like a civilian
Yeah,
private sector.
of
I
course.
guess kind of like that. Yeah.
The grass is always greener on the other side.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yep.
So you'll have to let me know what happens afterwards.
Absolutely. We'll do. Mhm.
Everything I've been hearing, it seems like you have a great positive attitude about everything. You've had really good experiences, even
Mhm.
though a lot of surprises have been thrown at you.
Mhm.
Seems like you've looked at the bright side and have had a good
Mhm.
experience. Would you do it all over again if you had the opportunity, or would you maybe decide on taking out loans and not going the military route if you knew what it was like?
So if I could do it all over again, I would definitely go through the army again.
Oh, wow.
Obviously, everything has its downsides and good and bads. Army definitely has its downsides, but if I had a choice to do it again, I would definitely do the army again. And I will just kind of say one thing. I guess since I'm in Germany, I guess being in Germany is definitely a kind of a cool experience. So
Mhm.
what I'm experiencing as a army general dentist will probably not be really the same. We're really, really different than other army dentists for sure. And it really, honestly, the experiences that the army dentist has, it will depend on who is in charge and like where they are at.
Mhm.
So if their commander or whoever's in charge is really open to everyone and really nice and caring and everything like that, then the general dentist would have a good time. But if it's at a location where it's kind of like in the middle of nowhere or like kind of like not a very ideal situation, then I guess the experiences might be a little bit more negative.
Mhm.
But I think honestly, wherever you are, I think my philosophy is just like wherever you are, just try to make the most of it. So just kind of I always try to look everything on the bright side. Even though everything around us can be really, really negative or bad. But yeah, so I just kind of want to throw that out there because I don't want to just be like, oh, everything is really great, everything's amazing. I kind of want to just, make sure that, everyone kind of knows it can be different.
Yeah. Oh, another pro that I thought of is
Mhm.
healthcare. You probably you have TRICARE, I think it's what it's called.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you get like everything covered. If anything happens to you, you have this insurance, correct? Okay.
Yep, Yep, that's true. I think it's also with the family members too. So it's like the full and his family get all the healthcare benefits. It's weird though. I think I'll be honest with you, I don't know the complexities of it. I think it can get a little bit convoluted, but overall, I think all soldiers, if they're hurt or all their medical expenses are covered. So yeah, you're right. That is a pretty nice bonus.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else that you want to leave us with? Any other pieces of advice, things you want to tell people interested in military dentistry or applying for this scholarship?
So I guess if everyone wants to apply, definitely start early. Don't be like me, just procrastinating and delaying everything, and just only going with the army, I guess. So I guess if you really want to start with the scholarship, start early, and even if you can't get into the army or the HPSP, there are tons of other ways to help pay for dental school besides loans or scholarships and things like that, and other I think ways of paying for dental school, like the public health service corps. I think they have some options as well. And I just say, good luck to everyone, applying to dental school. Dental school, I think has been really great. They're really awesome people like yourself.
Oh yeah, we got to meet at USC.
Yeah. And then so everyone applying to, dental school, good luck. Keep your head up high and work hard. And that's all I can say.
I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Thank you again, Mark, for joining me on this interview. Everyone else, I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.